these last couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome everybody to a special Let Freedom Ring live stream. Um, I always do WrestleMania shows around this time of year. We don't always cover wrestling here at Let Freedom Ring, but there's a lot to talk about. WrestleMania is the biggest event of the year. It's now Tuesday after Mania. We've seen nights 1 and 2. We saw the Hall of Fame. We saw the SmackDown. We saw the Raw. We've seen NXT. We've seen everything. And we're going to get right into that. We do want to start off the show. Shout out to Carmelo Hayes for winning the NXT title. I know everybody in this area is a big fan of Christian Casanova, and man, it was great to see him win the title. Um, but joining me, a member of the Four Families of Podcasts, even though Let Free Ring isn't a podcast, it's a YouTube public access show, but that's okay. Josh Mears. Josh, how are you?
I am, I would. This is normally a part where you say I'm doing great, but man, I'll get into that in a minute. But there is nothing to feel great about these last few days, man.
It it's been a rough couple days for wrestling fans for sure. Um, and Josh, Beyond the Pyro, what is that? Is that on hiatus still?
It is on indefinite hiatus. I
Okay.
have switched to more video game content here lately.
Ah,
You normally do not see my face in that aspect. You can find me on Twitch, Pyro_VT.
did you go to video games to like avoid me? Because you know I'm not a video games guy.
Yeah, man, totally. That's 100% what I did. Top tier strat.
But anyways, we'll get
nah,
on. Yeah, go ahead.
it was just the one thing that the Four Families wasn't touching on. I'm like, all right, this is going to be, and it's branched out. There's not a lot of wrestling content, but there's a lot of video game ish content on there. So
Hell yeah. All
one
right.
thing we weren't doing.
Well, if you want to check out that, let's get that in the comments or something after. But definitely check out Josh in that. So I do want to say one other thing. R.I.P. Bushwhacker Butch passed away yesterday at the age of 78. I think a lot of people probably watching the stream right now were fans of the Bushwhackers growing up. So very very sad. Again, if you do want to comment, you want to interact with us, please do it on the Let Freedom Ring page of the YouTube channel. I will not see anything on my personal page, so just want to make people aware of that. But let's get right into this. WrestleMania Night 1. Josh, thoughts on it? What stood out? I feel like a lot of people liked WrestleMania Night 1.
Night one was absolutely fan fucking tastic. I know we don't cuss on that show, but on this show, but
Family show,
damn
but
it, that is the only way to describe night one. Night one was exactly what you want out of a WrestleMania. All right, we had one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history, one of the best tag team matches we've seen in recent WWE history, with KO and Sami Zayn beating the Usos for tag titles. We had Logan Paul and Seth Rollins absolutely tear the house down. I know a lot of people hate on Logan, but man, does that boy have a career? He
oh,
has a career in this if he ever wants it.
well, just while we're on the topic, who the hell is KSI? Can
Oh,
somebody explain this to me?
I got you as the young hip millennial here. I got you. So
I'm on the older side
KSI,
of millennials.
I'm on the younger side, so I got you. We're gonna help each other out. We're gonna rep the generation together. All right. So KSI is a known British rapper. He is also Logan Paul's business partner when it comes to the Prime Energy drink that they both market. If you've not tried it, I kind of think it tastes like ass. I don't recommend it.
I did try it. My brother had it at WrestleMania night too, and the blue one, tastes like a slush puppy.
Okay, so
Have you ever had
I'll
one of
have to
those?
find the blue one. I tried the. I got my hands on the red, white, and blue one that's supposed to taste like the fireworks pop. It does not. It does not. Don't do it. Just we love America here, but don't subject yourself to it. You'll become a Soviet real quick if you drink that. Don't do it. No, so he's also a YouTube personality. He is part of a
Okay.
group called the Sidemen. You can find them on YouTube. They do a lot of different content. Basically KSI is in the same realm as Logan Paul in the sense that he was a YouTuber turned boxer turned business owner turned now WrestleMania debuter. So
Okay, because I will say this, Josh, when he came out in that in the can suit, what was the name of the energy drink again? Because I did try it.
Prime,
Prime.
Prime.
He ripped off the mask, and I sat there going, I'm not going to even pretend to know who that is or why this is important. I was hoping he was going to be a wrestler or something like that, because you knew the mask was coming off.
Yeah. What I thought, I will say, the best part about KSI's appearance was when he was recording himself talking smack over Seth Rollins, and Rollins just like boop, and Logan splashed through KSI instead. I will say
That
that
was
that I was dying.
that was great. I didn't need to know who KSI was to enjoy that moment. I thought that was pretty cool that Logan was distracted, but honestly, man, this match was great. It was better than the first. Shout out John Cena for rocking the Kowloon. Now the Kowloon, I don't know if you know this, Josh, because you're living in Maryland, is a Chinese restaurant that everybody wants to go there. A lot of the wrestlers have go there. There's like pictures of wrestlers everywhere. I was supposed to meet Paul Bearer there, but he died the week before, unfortunately. But the Kowloon's like in this area is huge, and John Cena had Kowloon like designed sneakers on in that match.
Yeah, I knew they looked. I knew they looked different. I didn't understand the reference at all, but
Yep.
I knew they definitely looked different than what he normally goes out there wearing. So I kind of thought something was up with that.
Yeah, it's been talked it was on the news. Like that's how big it was that he wore those. But nothing too exciting about that, but nothing to be upset about, really.
Yeah,
Um all right, so but yeah, and you feel good about Logan Paul and
yeah.
Rollins?
Honestly, to me, there were no matches night one that were a miss. The SmackDown Women's Title, great match between Rhea and Charlotte, fantastic. The right person won. Zayn and KO, Usos, fantastic match. Right person won. The WrestleMania Showcase night one was fantastic.
Oh, we
I did not
skipped
feel like
what about the tag match? What did you think of that? I predicted the street. I mean, I thought it was obvious the Street Profits were going over
yeah, it
there.
was obviously a Street Profits, but yeah, that WrestleMania Showcase, wild, loved every minute of it. Again, right team won. Uh, Nothing about night one was a miss for me. I love night one. Night one was what I envisioned WrestleMania being. Fantastic matches, great high energy time. Even when the heels win, it's the right call. Nothing about night one was a complaint for me. Night one easily won this weekend for me, and I'm sure we'll get into that when we start talking about night two.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. You know what I love about it, and that's like a newer thing than when I was growing up, is that pay-per-views on Saturday nights are just so much better than on Sundays. Not, I know sometimes people have to work on Sunday. I generally don't, right? And it's just awesome. I can stay up. I watched the press conference after with Triple H. Like I'm not in a rush to go to bed. I feel like I can enjoy the night better when it's on Saturday. Like, how do you feel about that?
Same way. I work in a job where I could work Sunday, but I don't work Sundays. Saturdays I have a lot more time, and I feel like even if I stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to wake up early the night to do anything. Yeah, I mean the Saturday pay per views I really love. I wish they did it way more often than they do. I wish all the companies would do Saturday pay per views. Honestly.
100% with you. I love it. It doesn't feel like, that the ending of Mania Night 2 is like, man, the weekend's like truly over, right? So,
Yeah, it's like, do you want Mania weekend to continue? Yeah, take Monday off.
yeah, absolutely. I want to give I mean, definitely shout out to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair too. That was fantastic. I thought that was the right call, right? Rhea, I think, has had, to me, the best year of her career that I've seen. Um, I love everything they've done with the Judgment Day. I think that's a great little faction there. It's gotten Rhea up, like made her better. It's made Dominic better. It's made me like
That's
Damian
another
Priest.
match from night one we haven't touched on. Ray and Dominic.
Oh yeah, we're gonna touch on that in 1 second too. So that was good. I do want to talk about Trish, Lita, and Becky versus Damage Control. Nothing crazy. It looks like Lita and Trish have definitely their time of doing these comebacks and having full matches are probably coming to an end.
Oh yeah, easily. Let's be real. It was shocking when Lita and Becky Lynch won the tag titles to begin with. Because I was like, these are Hall of Famers. I don't know if they're necessarily going to have like a long run with these because I don't know how often Lita and Trish are actually going to show up for matches. But no, I mean, all I know, the one thing that has irked me, and it's not really anything about night one, it's about what happened last night. They said, oh, we want to bring prestige back to the women's tag team titles. Great idea. So, what are we going to do to get there? Because there's like no other tag teams that can really do that.
Shayna and Ronda need to be the tag champs, in my opinion. Whenever
Yeah,
that
and
happens.
what really irked me about that, but you know what? Actually, that this match happened night two. I'm gonna hold this till night two because something
We're
really irked me about the last couple of days. So I'm gonna hold that for when we get to night two because I'm gonna go in
I
on
mean,
that idea.
if people can't tell, oh man, I can't. Hold on. How do I? It looks like I can't have I didn't do a good job of this because I really want to show the picture in the background, but whatever. Um, I have to say, all the women did great on night one. And like I said, Lita went so hard in her prime that it's good to just see her out there. But yeah, she's older now, But let's talk about this because this was pretty cool. The Mysterios, Dominic versus his father Ray into the Hall of Fame. The night before, I gotta say, shout out to Rey Mysterio going to the Hall of Fame. I can say, growing up, man, Conan did such a fantastic job inducting him. A lot of people were criticizing because like it felt like he was taking credit for stuff, and I don't think that's it. I think that's how him and Ray are together. Is the way even Ray said, like, I thank God and I thank Conan, right? But I remember seeing Rey Mysterio for the first time. I didn't get I wasn't watching ECW when he was there. I didn't even know how to find ECW then. But I remember seeing him on Nitro for the first time and starting to see the cruiserweights, thinking, "Oh my God, this is cool," because he was the smallest wrestler that I had. I know they did like the little people matches, but not what Rey Mysterio was doing was like I never seen flips like that before. Now I know I criticize flips and stuff, but at that time, I just remember watching Nitro being like, who is this guy? This is amazing. And it wasn't just him. It was Psychosis. It was Ultimo Dragon in there, Dean Malenko, and man, there's so many others that I'm blanking on right now. La Parca, I know he was a little taller, but like Ray was the standout there, even back then. Eddie Guerrero, obviously. Um, but I'm sidetracking here. What do you think of the entrances?
Uh, I liked Dom's, but there was something about Ray coming out and the lowrider to Viva La Raza that had me on the brink of tears. And I'm not talking sad tears, I'm talking the happiest. This is what WrestleMania is all about tears. Ray came out and paid the greatest homage to Eddie on the grandest stage of them all by coming out in a lowrider with Snoop Dogg to Eddie's theme. All right, let's not forget that. He came out to Eddie's theme. This wasn't Booyaka Booyaka. This was a Viva la Raza coming out in a lowrider. That was fantastic. I almost cried. I'm not going to lie to you. I am man enough to admit a wrestling entrance almost made me cry, and I am not ashamed.
No, I thought Dominic's was so cool. They've really played up the prison thing, and it's so funny because he was only in jail for a night, right?
Yeah.
I like how he came out with his father's mask on and he's mocking his dad. Man, they had really cool entrances. And then, what's cooler than coming out on a lowrider with Snoop Dogg as your driver? Does it get any
Yeah.
better than that,
With
or
with that
cooler?
with that blinged out WWE title too, mind you. You know the one that was stole like a few months ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was fantastic. The Eddie pop was great. Obviously, their storyline stuff that they're never going to use, but it would be funny if Dominic, renounced his father and said Eddie was my real father, but that's never going to probably happen. They've done enough with Mysterio's passing that they shouldn't really do that again. But I thought this match was great. I kind of wish Dominic got more heat by throwing water into his mother's face. He threw it in his sister's. Um, but overall, man, I thought that could have headlined the show. I really do. They didn't go that route, and I think they made the right decision there. Um, and I thought for sure Dominic would win this match. He didn't. And then later I thought about it, I go, I think Dominic actually gains more. Now here's a loss that is actually good, I think, for Dominic. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm kind of with you there. Like at first, I was like, "There's no way Ray wins this." I'm not gonna lie. Part of me really thought that when this match happened, it was going to be a career match. Like if Ray lost, that's it. Because how many times have we inducted someone into the Hall of Fame and they continue to wrestle? Let's think
All
about
the
this.
time.
Like it, Ric Flair is the only one that ever wrestled after he, you know, scheduled to wrestle as he's getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. And what happened the very next night? I'm sorry, I love you. Bam, 1, 2, 3, career over. Like I really thought that was where this was going, and it's not. But I'm with you because I feel like Dominic actually stands to gain more from a loss here than he does a win. Because now he has to prove himself and show that he is better than his father. He has to surpass him now. It's not like, oh, I'm with Judgment Day, I'm better than you. No, it's no, Ray is just simply better. You need to step up.
And it makes him more bitter, right?
Yeah.
There's no closure. He didn't one up his father. Maybe if he beats his dad, he sees the error of his ways or so. I don't know. I think this just continues it. I think you could do this match again. Honestly, everything they've done, I think that's like what a moment for Rey Mysterio, and Dominic, I should say, for the whole Mysterio family to get to wrestle your father at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's ever actually happened before. Oh well, I'm sorry. Shane and Vince had a match. I'm talking two guys that are trained wrestlers, right? That got to go on and have a match like this.
Also,
Um,
I just want to point out, anyone else get a vibe from Mysterio's mask, kind of like feeling like it was a little Great Muda esque
it was,
because it was a really thick mask. Like I'm like that looks like Muda's mask.
if I'm not mistaken, I was a little tired. He addressed that in the press conference.
Okay, I didn't stay up for the press conference. I'm not gonna lie, I was
Yeah,
exhausted.
I really wanted to hear Triple H that night, so I just said, "All right, let's throw this on," and it was worth it just to see KO crush Snickers bars and reference it constantly. It was really entertaining, and that's what Kevin Owens does. He entertains, man. He's always entertaining. But overall, I think we both really like that match.
Yeah,
I want to get into this now. Your host of WrestleMania was The Miz. Miz did a lot this weekend. Night one,
most most matches in WrestleMania history.
yeah. I thought the chemistry with him and Snoop was great. Um, did you like Pat McAfee? I mean, I think the crowd loves Pat McAfee. I love anytime you get to see him.
Look, I love anytime Pat McAfee is on my screen with a mic in the ring. I don't care. And whenever Pat McAfee gets to be on my screen, I am a happy Josh. All right, let me tell you, it makes my day when I see Pat McAfee. So
And I loved it. Ah, God, I keep blanking on his name, but from the 49ers there,
George
got
Kittle,
involved. Kittle, he big wrestling fan. I know Pentagon Jr. Had given him a mask when they played in Mexico. Um, Corey Graves talking about them on commentary was hilarious. If you were
yeah,
listening,
that
like he cracks me up.
Corey Graves is that like old school like late '90s, early 2000s heel commentator. You know, the one that's like, okay, yeah, he's definitely a heel. He's definitely for the bad guys. Like it's not subtle. Like he's a heel commentator, and I love it. It brings me back. It gives me nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean, he really, I think 20 years, 25, 30 years, because all the time you hear like the heel commentators are people think of Bobby Heenan or they think of Jerry Lawler. Graves might be, that next guy, right? There's been
Yeah,
other ones in between. Obviously, that's a lengthy period of time I'm talking about,
and
but
and
you
he's
know,
really working with one of the best to ever do it, being Michael Cole. Michael Cole's
yes,
been doing this for a very long time, and there's a reason he's one of the few that have not come and gone. Like
it's crazy how long he's really been there. I mean, he's been there pretty much. He must have come in like 99, I want to say. Maybe he was doing
No,
interviews in 98.
earlier than that, because there was foot. Because remember when DX reunited in 2006. This is what I remember because I wasn't watching wrestling in the 90s. I was like a toddler. Um, they used footage of Shawn and
I would
Triple
say
H
younger
giving Michael
millennial.
Cole wedgies. Like, so that had
That
to be
was,
like
yes, you're
96,
right.
97. So it would have had to be like mid
That's
90s.
definitely that's definitely 97. I'm gonna say he debuted then in 97 because I do not. I remember that. I'm trying to remember anything from 96. Um, where oh, yep. Thank you, John Maskin. Shout out for the Phillies hat. Rocking this, not just because I like this hat, but Josh, why do you think I might be rocking this right now?
I would have to say because of your immense love for the Philadelphia Phillies. No, of course I'm not. I think it's because we're talking WrestleMania, and WrestleMania only has one way to get bigger than Hollywood, and that is to come to the city of brotherly love, being Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, next year.
Yeah, I cannot wait. All us East Coast people cannot wait for Mania. We don't have to fly across the. We're not all Johnny Burks out there and can just jump in a plane and fly
I
to
don't have my I
California.
don't have my dad's credit card on hand. I can't do it.
I love giving him crap, but yeah. So the Miz, I thought that was fun. But let's get to really what everybody was probably talking about after Mania Night One. Everybody, a fantastic match. When people say that the Usos are the maybe the greatest tag team of all time, I mean that's a lot to say there, but man, do they have a case for it.
Oh yeah. By the way, anyone saying the Usos are the greatest of all time, the Dudleys, the Hardys, Midnight Express, they'd all like to have a word with you, because that's steep. Greatest tag team of this generation, easily,
I could see
easily
that.
up there in that conversation. Really, the last 5, 10 years, really just the last five. It's been Usos, FTR, Briscoes. Those are like the three teams, and unfortunately, moving forward, it's just two of those teams. But those are the names that you talk about when you talk about big tag teams in the scene right now. Usos run the WWE. It does not matter. But they don't anymore because we have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as tag champs.
Yeah, and Sammy gets his one up on the bloodline finally. I'd love to see that happen, to Roman. Um,
This should have happened to Roman.
and Mike DiStefano, I think he's saying
No,
Josh is alive.
I'm actually just a ghost. Dan brought me back from the dead specifically to do this.
um,
Can't you tell how white I am? I'm obviously a ghost, bro.
what was I gonna say about that? Oh, yeah, no, it was a great match. I was gonna say the one match I think I'd want to see in this generation, and I've very much cooled on the Young Bucks because I think they've cooled off quite a bit. And I think when you're talking all-time great tag teams, Young Bucks for a team that's never been WWE could probably be in that debate, right? But the Usos and Young Bucks is like a match that I just think we're never gonna get, and I'd
No.
love to see that match. Um, Maybe it's on the independent someday, but I don't think that I couldn't see the Usos ever getting released from WWE unless they wanted to leave.
Yeah, and
You
if they
know,
want to leave at that point, it's probably because they're done wrestling.
yeah, that's how I could see it. I could see anybody in that bloodline, no pun intended, being with WWE until they're done. Um, But I will say, great match, great finish. Crowd was hot. The right team won, right? If you were looking for that, um, Sammy gets his moment. KO gets their moment. They have a great press conference. They shout out the Briscoes in the press conference too, saying that they wouldn't have been there for guys without guys like that. So um, Mania Night One goes out on a very good vibe, very good feeling.
Now, speaking of the Usos, I need to give props where props are due. If you have been paying attention to the Bloodline storyline for the last 8, 9, 10 months, Jay Uso is able to tell a story just by the look on his face. Okay, that man does not have to say anything. The looks he was giving Sammy during this match, you could tell that this was personal. All right, Jey Uso wasn't looking at Sammy as if it was just, hey, this is a guy I got to beat tonight. No, the look on Jay's face was, this is a man whose ass I need to kick. Like, this man was locked in on Sammy, knowing that he had to solve the Sami Zayn problem, and he let his face do the talking during a match. That is ring psychology at its peak. All right, a lot of other companies, they do spot fests, they do flips and all this stuff, and it's cool, it's great. Ring psychology isn't there. So the match just ends up being a spot fest, and no one really cares about it. 2 weeks later, they forget it ever happened. Matches like this are what people remember because the psychology was there. Sami Zayn looking at Jay in his face before he delivered not one, not two, but 3 haluva kicks to his jaw before Sammy pinned Jay. More ring psychology. Jay was the one who didn't trust Sammy at first. Jay is the one who accepted Sammy last. Jay is the one who was closest to Sammy when Sammy turned on the bloodline to save Kevin. Jay is the one who felt the most betrayed. He's the one that felt the most what's the word I'm looking for? The most motivated to take down Sammy. So for Sammy to pin Jay, ring psychology at its finest. He could have pinned Jimmy. Kevin could have pinned Jimmy. Kevin could have pinned Jay. None of them would have meant the same as Sammy pinning Jay in that match.
Oh, absolutely. It had to be, right? If they're all he didn't trust him, then he did, and then they went back and forth. I agree with you. I think this is like everything the Bloodline has done in this last year. I mean, I was at Survivor Series, man. I could feel the energy for the Bloodline, and this has been they really have dominated WWE in terms of storylines, matches. I mean, anything, when Roman and Heyman say we are the top act, we are the best in this company, it's really hard to argue that. It is really hard to argue that. And shout out to Mike. He's throwing out some great tag teams. I agree. Those are some good ones. Demolition, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Arnon, not really me and Josh's generation per se. But I do agree in the history of wrestling, those are all great teams there. Yeah, overall it was great. And like I said, if you get a chance, go check out the press conference because KO, the stuff with the Snickers bars was hilarious. And, every 2 seconds, Sammy's like looking at him like, what's he doing now? That's going to get us over to night 2. Night 2 starts off. You get Brock in Omos. It was what we want. I mean, was there anything else that you would have wanted out of that match? I didn't think that Omos was going to beat Brock.
I would have rather it just not happen. There was nothing I wanted to see about this match. In fact, you know what? Honestly, I just want this to be known before we get into the meat of night 2. I do have my barf bucket right here because talking about night 2 is going to make me vomit.
It's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about. If you're a wrestling fan and you use social media, it's some crazy stuff going on right now.
What really irritated me was during the pre-show for Mania night 2. They were hyping it up. They're like, if Brock lifts Omos for an F5, that's going to be like Hogan lifting Andre. I'm like, no, it's not. Brock has F5'd the Big Show before. Yep. He's done this to big dudes his whole career. For the love of God, one of the most memorable things we've ever seen in wrestling is Brock Lesnar superplexing the Big Show and breaking the ring. Is him F5ing a man that weighs almost 100 pounds less than the Big Show that impressive? No, it's not. Like,
maybe they should have told it as like old man Brock. Can he still do it?
And
because
he showed
you're right. We've seen it.
He showed he could. So Woo,
Yeah,
I guess.
I'd
Like,
say here's what I'll say. Good for Omos to get that match, right? For Brock, it felt like filler, right?
yeah. It felt like useless for Brock. Omos had everything to gain and he had everything to gain and everything to lose, and he lost. So it's like, okay.
And
Omos is
I
just a
don't think
big
he
guy
gained.
on the roster now.
Yeah, I don't think he. I guess he really didn't gain anything. I mean, that's got to be a moment for him, right? He's got to work with some awesome people at WrestleMania,
Yeah, but
but
my thing is, he had a great debut at WrestleMania with AJ Styles,
he did.
and now it's like he loses in the opening match of night 2.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, last night we'll get to Raw, but he squashed Elias. So what? Like that just felt like filler too. So it's like 2 nights in a row. Omos is really just filler.
Yeah,
Um, then we get to the women's tag match: Ronda, Baszler, Morgan, and Rodriguez versus Natalia, Shotzi versus Green and Deville. Um, Happy they all got on the card. Nothing too crazy about this. We kind of knew that. I am totally sold though on Ronda and Shayna as a team. I'd like to see them with the tag titles. Then I'd like to see them split, and I'd like Ronda versus Shayna next year. I think that'd be awesome.
so this is actually what I was getting ready to get into earlier, and I said I was going to save it for night 2. Um, Night 1, we had the WrestleMania showcase with the men's tag teams. The Street Profits came out on top. Last night on Monday Night Raw, the Street Profits faced the tag team champions. Makes sense. They had a fatal 4-way tag team match. The winner's got a tag title shot. That checks out. That's to be expected.
I don't think that was a stipulation though. I think Sammy and KO
But it made
yeah.
sense. That's
Hmm.
the thing. It made sense.
They got momentum, right?
Yeah. Night 2, they have a fatal 4-way, which Ronda and Shayna won. And then on Raw, they have a tag team match between a team that lost in that match and another team that lost during WrestleMania weekend to determine the number 1 contenders for the women's tag team titles.
Yeah,
Ronda and Shayna were involved in this. Like,
that
if anything,
that
they're the ones with momentum. Like,
that is a head scratcher.
I was
Both
watching. I'm
companies do that.
like, wait, what? But both of them lost. None of them won this entire weekend. None of them won. Okay, the tag team that did win, one of them is tag team champions. The other one, the only other tag team of women that won. Like, if anything, that to me it just makes sense. Like, those two are the ones that go at it. Like,
And Shayna and Ronda weren't even on the show.
yeah, they weren't even on the show. So
A lot of people were not, which is like,
I'm just saying, in regards to night 2, I said it before. I stand by my statement because it came out to be true. They started night 1. They started night 2 with the 2 bathroom break matches. There was nothing that incredible about the women's tag team match. Cool, great. They got on the card, but nothing really right home about with it.
no diss to the women in that match either. I got up to go to the bathroom, which when you're at home at Mania, not that hard to do. And my brother Bobby goes, "You're actually taking a piss break during the match that everybody said was the piss break match." I was like, "Yeah, but again, I'm a fan of everybody that's involved there. I'm glad that Chelsea Green got to be on WrestleMania. I am a fan of hers, so that was cool. Then we get I don't know. Yeah, I think I got the right order here. The order doesn't matter. We had Gunter, Sheamus, and McIntyre. A lot of people said this was their favorite match of the weekend.
I will preface what I'm about to say with when we talk about night 2 overall, don't get it twisted. This match is the exception to everything I will say. This match lived up to my expectations. It broke my expectations, and it set the bar so incredibly high for the Intercontinental Championship. And the Intercontinental Championship is starting to look like it means as much as it used to in the 90s and early 2000s. All right. The Intercontinental Championship is looking like it actually means something again because of these three men. Big, meaty men slapping meat. That's what this match was. It was a knockdown, drag out fight. It wasn't a wrestling match. There was nothing wrestling about it. They started off beating the hell out of each other, and it just 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds and stayed until someone got pinned. They did not cool down. I loved it.
Absolutely, it was great. It was good, and people are saying it was produced by Abyss, um, who I
Give
would
that man
love
a
to see.
raise.
Love to see
Give
him
that man
have.
a raise.
I'd love to see him have one match in WWE. I don't think will happen, but it was a good match. Walter to me just looks like a star. He's definitely, if he stays here, I mean, depending, we're going to talk about what's kind of going on in WWE right now. Walter just had, I mean, that guy got himself jacked. He looks great.
He did. He did a complete body transformation in like a year too. Because like when he came up from NXT, like he was still kind of like a stocky boy, and now he's just like, I'm ready to destroy everyone, and I'm going to have the stamina to do it, and I dare you to stop me.
He is
Like,
he's absolutely made for TV.
100%.
That's Yeah. I mean, there's nothing you can be mad about. Drew McIntyre has not. I guess his contract's coming up. He doesn't have one yet. He hasn't signed. Are we going to see guys, in your opinion? And I think this is smart to know your worth. Dip their toes to see what AEW could offer him. Maybe drive up the price on WWE. They obviously have the
you,
money.
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Drew Galloway is all elite.
You think that they're gonna? You don't think you might use them like Orton did
If
to?
if WWE lets McIntyre go, I will personally drive to Jacksonville and slap Tony Khan across his bearded face if he does not open a checkbook for Drew Galloway. All right, that man was a highlight in Impact when he was there. He was a highlight overseas when he was there. The man has it. WWE, they had it with him, but when there were no fans in attendance, stupid coronavirus.
No, yeah, he never got to have that moment with a crowd. Yeah, I hope that he tries to see what they'll offer him. And the good thing about AEW existing now is that you can leave WWE and still be on weekly television, and you don't
Yeah,
really skip a beat because the fans
and
still get to
plus
see you.
And plus, it forces WWE's hand because AEW can pay them those higher contract prices. So they can't be like, oh, we'll just give you like 800,000 a year because AEW might be like, we'll give you 1 million.
Yeah, and that
Like,
was one of my favorite things about when that company came around. Is like now people, MJF says it on television, the bidding war of 2024, and I don't think he's bullshitting with that. I think there's a good chance MJF is in WWE next year, just because he might get more money there, and
yeah,
he might want to run there. He definitely wants to run there at some point because that's what he grew up on. Um, Now that gets us to Snoop Dogg absolutely saves the day.
the
Um,
McMahon quad strikes again.
they Shane returns. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I think he got a pretty decent pop. I'm still a Shane McMahon fan. I know a lot of people have cooled off on him. Shane gets hurt. Snoop Dogg improvises, does a very interesting people's elbow, but hey, they made the segment not totally crash and burn.
Hey, look, I'm just saying. Snoop Dogg at his age, y'all can shit on that people's elbow all you want. But at his age, for him to even take a bump like that, Snoop Doggy Dogg is my man. Sign him to a contract. I want him to like 3 matches between now and next Mania. Like, I
I,
loved every minute of that segment because Shane tore his quad during that spot. Snoop was like, "All right, well here's what we're gonna do, Miz. You lay there. I got this." In this, you know, toss the shades, hit the people's elbow, count them down 1, 2, 3. Miz had 3 matches because Shane McMahon got hit with the McMahon quad curse and tore his quad, basically walking in the ring.
he saved it. I mean, he saved the segment. It's been all over the news. That was awesome. And Miz was actually kind of funny about that the next night on Raw when he addressed all that. Um, that's going to get us to Edge and Balor. Balor did get hurt. A lot of people wanted the Brood to show up, or at least Gangrel. We did not get that. What are your feelings on the Hell in the Cell?
My feelings on the Hell in a Cell. They brought down the traditional silver cage, got rid of that that red piece of garbage. We had the traditional Hell in a Cell back. And then they pull out the chairs and they're red and purple. You painted the weapons? The Singapore canes were painted. The chairs were painted. You painted the weapons? You painted the weapons. You literally sat there and said, "Oh yeah, this is a great idea. I should 100% assign my production team to take hours out of the day to spray paint these chairs and kendo sticks that are just gonna get ruined in a 10-minute match." Like, what? Are you kidding me? And then the match, I had such high hopes for this Hell in a Cell match. You know, I was saying it like this is serious match of the night contender. It wasn't. It wasn't at all.
I think Finn getting hurt kind of pissed it away.
Finn getting hurt kind of hurt it, but I loved one spot in the entire match, and that was it. And that was Finn, you know, like a rabid dog climbing the cell, turning around, and then doing the coup de grace off the side of the cell into the ring. I thought that was a really cool spot. And what seems to be the theme of night 2, moving along with the theme, again, exception being the Intercontinental Triple Threat. Wrong person won. Edge should not have won that match. Finn should have won that match.
Didn't Finn already beat him?
He did. But the problem is, this is now the second time Finn has brought out the demon, and the demon has been beaten.
Yeah.
So now it's like, is there really even a point to the demon anymore? You bring out this darker side, you still don't get the job done. You can't he can't even beat an old man with a neck that's put together by screws. Like, no insult to Edge. He's doing great at his age with his medical history. But this was Finn's match to win. And I don't understand why they had Finn lose when Finn is the one that stood the most to gain from a victory here. What's Edge going to do? Come back at SummerSlam?
Yeah, the Judgment Day didn't fare well in wins and losses this weekend. I was shocked.
Rhea's the only dub.
And heck, she might be full-time SmackDown now for all we know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, nothing too crazy there. But we're going to get to kind of what people have been upset about. And I think we're going to get into this pretty hard here.
The worst call of the weekend.
I think wrong decision. You got a lot of people defending the decision. A lot of people not defending the situation. The end. You got Roman. You got Cody. This had vibes of the biggest main event since Austin Rock to me. I don't think there's been a main event that I've been this hyped for. Cody returned to WWE last year. After starting another promotion, after showing everybody what he's all about, you get your first kind of AEW versus WWE match in a way, right? But Cody's there to win the title, and Solo gets ejected. Do you think that's going to be not a factor? Usos get involved. Sammy and KO get involved. They leave, and here comes Solo is back. Samoa spikes Cody. What did Reigns spear him after that?
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3, the reign of Roman Reigns continues. We're now 40 some odd days away from 1,000 days. What did you think, Josh?
I think it was the worst call of the entire weekend. Possibly one of the worst calls in the last few years of WWE. This was Cody's time. I'm not even going to say it was his match to win. It was the time for him to win. Like, that's how adamantly I felt about this. I've said it in our group chat, Dan. I'll say it here live on Let Freedom Ring. Cody didn't finish the story. And sure, the story continues, but the story is damn sure blemish now. Cody should have had this match won. Um, I hated the fact that Solo came back in with the spike. I wish it would have finished clean. If Roman was going to win, I wish it was clean. This was Cody's match to win. It was the time to beat Cody. And I mean, not beat Cody. It was the time to beat Reigns. It was the time to take that title off of Reigns. And they didn't. And then we got a horrible excuse as to why from Triple H himself, which irritated me because his exact comparison was imagine if people sat through a movie and every scene is like, oh, well, I don't like how that finished, and then they get up and leave. This isn't a movie. This isn't a 2-hour process where an hour in he loses and 2 hours later he wins. Cody has been building to this for the last year. We have waited for Cody to get his shot for a year. Tore his pec at Hell in a Cell last year. He was out for 8 months. Came back, won the Rumble. We were all like, okay, it is Cody's time. He is getting the Triple H treatment. Well, he got a Triple H treatment. That's for damn sure. Because Triple H screwed Cody. I'm honestly so irritated about the decision. I almost didn't even want to sit through the press conference. And after I sat through the press conference, I was actually more aggravated than I was without doing it at all.
Yeah, that I was driving home when the finish happened. I didn't really know what to say. I just kind of was like, well, that sucks. That really sucks. And the way I look at it is a lot of people are saying, well, maybe it could happen at next Mania, or maybe I don't think you get a bigger moment, right? Than WrestleMania, the whole story. Rhodes has never won the title. He came back for this. I know he got hurt. I know he was on the shelf for most of this year. And you could argue like, well, there wasn't enough of a buildup for it. But I just, I think there's just moments in wrestling that you can have and you can never get back. And to me, I just don't think I don't think you get that moment back, right? They were so hot for it. You had Luke Harper's son there, right? You had Cody, and I get it. This is part of wrestling, right? That's the swerve, right? That's the heel. That's the heel finish. But you could have had that WrestleMania moment that would have felt bigger than Daniel Bryan's. That's really the last time the world title changed that Mania that you really were like, that was amazing. And I know for
Kofi Mania.
Kofi, which
Mania.
it fell in the middle of the card, right?
Which should have been main event, honestly, but
so you have there's just moments I just don't see how you get that back. People are like, no, you got to enjoy the chase. I'm like, no, I think the chase was, I think it was good enough for me.
Cody's chase.
That's just me personally.
This is the problem. Cody's chase didn't begin last year at WrestleMania. Cody's chase began when he became a wrestler. All right. His goal has always been to do the one thing his father never did. He wanted to be WWE champion. So this is a story that is decades in the making. The chase has been longer than a lot of current WWE fans have been alive.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's about the chase? The chase has been going on for years. And even if you don't want to count his early career, his chase began in 2016 when he went out and bet on himself to get back to WWE and prove he was worth it. And he did. He went out and did that. He went out and said, you know what? I'm going to show you why I'm better than a freaking face-painted fool called Stardust. I'm going to show you why I don't belong behind a stupid plastic mask for a gimmick. I'm going to show you why Cody Rhodes is the move. And he went out, he tore up the indies. He created his own promotion that rivals WWE. It has forced WWE to pay these stars more money so they don't go to the competition. All right, WWE was never threatened by Impact. Impact could never put up that kind of money. AEW could. Cody Rhodes was integral in the creation of AEW.
Oh yeah.
So his chase has been going on a lot longer than just this last year. Anyone who's sitting here and arguing, oh, he's only been chasing the title for a few months, you're an idiot. You need to research and shut up. Like, actually, if you're watching this and you're really believing that, please do me a favor. You know, you're on the internet right now, so do me a favor. I'm going to walk you through this. Open up a new tab and pull up Wikipedia, pull up Cody Rhodes, and you tell me what he did after he left WWE. And you tell me his chase started the last few months.
Yeah, that's annoyed me. I've seen a lot of things because some people, I've seen a lot of posts saying like, well, wrestling fans always complain no matter what. I don't think that's true, right? We've seen the last two Manias have been. I knew Roman wasn't going to lose at Mania 37, right? It was Edge and Daniel Bryan. I couldn't see that happening. Last year with Brock, couldn't see that happening either. You figured Reigns is the star, and he is. Reigns is the biggest star in this company. There's no doubt about it. But you're right. The Cody stuff, I remember in 2012, Cody dropped the IC title of the Big Show at WrestleMania. I think this was WrestleMania 28. Yeah, 10 years ago. Or no, maybe it was 20. Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, now Cody's going to go for the world title. And they didn't do that. And then within a few years, he becomes Stardust, right? So I wanted it then. Didn't get it. Okay, that's fine. Then he leaves WWE and becomes this huge star that we all knew he could be, right? And then it's just a moment lost to me that you will just never ever get back. And to say that fans are, fickle by this, or it's like watching a movie. It's like it is like watching a movie that you didn't get your payoff. And all these people saying, well, he'll eventually, we don't know that he's eventually going to get it. We don't know that. Like, he could get hurt again. He's not, he'll be 39 this year. I'm 39. I know what that's like. And he's a professional wrestler. He's putting his body on the line every day. He could get hurt again, and you never get the moment. You had all these people there. You had, Triple H said there's something different about this Mania. Triple H said this after night one in the press conference. He said there is something different about this vibe to WrestleMania. Do you know what the difference of the vibe was? It's not just the bloodline factors into it. Okay, the year that the bloodline had factors into it. And all of them losing at WrestleMania would have been the payoff because the heels finally get theirs, right?
Yeah.
This Mania felt special because of Cody Rhodes. Cody helped sell the show. And
Cody
I get
got
it.
Sammy and KO back together.
So, yeah,
Cody
and I mean,
made the main event worth it. Cody
Is there-
made both main events. Let's be clear about this.
the reason Mania felt so big was not just it was not just the bloodline. It was the story of Cody Rhodes finishing this story. Okay. People were hyped about this main event because it was something so different that they hadn't gotten. Okay. So the end of the bloodline, at least in this run, needed to come. And the hero needed to win this time. And I understand Triple H. I understand it's wrestling. The story continues. If this was Survivor Series, if this was SummerSlam, if this was any other event that wasn't WrestleMania, give me that Cody loss all day long. But Mania to me used to be the start of something new, right? All growing up, a lot of times a new guy got the title and there was a fresh start. There's no fresh start here. It's business as usual.
Mania is the one and only pay-per-view that WWE does every year that should always finish a story. If there is a story running going into WrestleMania, Mania should always finish that story. And they did not do that. And Dan, you said that's the big one of you said, the story continues. That's been one of the biggest defenses of, the decision to have Cody lose. The other defense I'm hearing, and Dan, you've seen these numbers, and I'm about to break them down right here for you, live on air. The other one is they want Roman to hit 1,000 days because it's so impressive that in the modern era he's hitting 1,000. It's not that impressive. Allow me to break this down. Bruno Sammartino, longest reigning WWE champion of all time at 2,803 days. All right, that was in a bygone era. WWE was not regularly televised like that. It was very long ago. Shows were very sporadic. You had to be there live, otherwise you weren't going to see it. Everyone says Bruno defended it less back then, so that's how he made it to 2,803 days.
It was a very different, time.
Very different time. But allow me to break these numbers down for y'all. In the 2,803 days that Bruno Sammartino held the WWE Championship, he defended that title 652 times, which comes out to about 23% of his reign. He was defending that title. 23% of the days, all right? Not weeks, not months, the days, Sunday through Saturday, Monday through Sunday, however you count your week, 23% of the time, Bruno Sammartino was defending that WWE Championship. 62 of those times were at Madison Square Garden. Roman Reigns has defended it in his 947 days as of today. But these numbers were done yesterday at 946, so they're a hair off, but it's not going to really impact anything. During his 946 days as Universal / Undisputed Champion, he has defended it 28 times, which comes out to 3% of his days as world champion. Bruno Sammartino defended his WWE Championship in a forgotten era of WWE 23% of the time. Roman has defended it 3% of the time. So that 1,000 days does not mean anything when he's hardly defending it as much as the person whose record he's chasing. You can say he's going after Pedro or Hogan's record. No, everyone who holds a title this long, you're looking at Bruno. Bruno's the longest. That is the record to beat. Congratulations, you're third on the list. You still ain't first. As Ricky Bobby once said, if you ain't first, you're last. It don't matter. If you ain't first, it don't matter. Roman hasn't defended this title enough to even justify 1,000 days being a big whoop-de-doo.
Well, and I agree with you here. The 1,000 days I don't care about. I think it's all the things we're saying. This show was as big as it was because of Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline. Okay, I'm not taking it. The Bloodline have been the hottest act. This was the perfect time for the Bloodline to finally. Okay, yeah, the Usos lost, but it was the time for them to finally get what's coming to them, Roman included. But you know what I'm really kind of concerned about is because everybody, ripping the fans are upset about it. Not everybody, I'm sorry. There's like a 5%, I would say, of the fan base that are behind this decision. I am not sold that Cody Rhodes is in the plans to get that title. Because when you talk about finishing the story, this could be the finish of the story. He couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So that would also be disappointing. I mean, I just think it meant a lot to a lot of people to see him get that. And Triple H can say, well, the story continues, we get it. But sometimes the story needs to end at WrestleMania. And this was that time. So, 100%. I will ask this because this is going on a lot on the internet. What do you think it is? Are fans at times too negative, or is it the product?
If you had asked me a few months ago if I thought it was the fans of the product, without shadow of a doubt, I would have said the fans are too negative. They're being way too hard on the product. The last 2 days of WWE booking has shown me otherwise. I think it is the perfect cataclysm of events between fans being negative and us being dealt a garbage product now, which has created this current circumstance.
See here, yeah, here's my thing. Okay, because again, you have 5% is what I'm putting it on because I've seen all the pages that I'm on and everything. You still have this maybe 10 to 5% of the fan base that will defend anything or just think that everybody's being ridiculous. You had this big letdown, and that's what it was. People that are diehard fans of Roman Reigns wanted Cody to win. I could tell you a lot of them. Okay. You did this, and then you have the night after Mania, the Raw after Mania that we have come to accustom being something special, something different than any other Monday Night Raw during the year, right? And I don't care, and again, people are like, well, what would you have done or whatnot? I don't know. That's not really my job, right? I don't get paid by WWE. I don't get paid to book.
Be nice.
This sh- this
Pretty sure we do a
show,
better job.
maybe. This show was just downright boring.
It was.
It was trending last night. Worst Raw ever. You just sold the company. You just sold it. Triple H comes out and he says WWE's not going anywhere, and I believe him. He might end up going somewhere. Vince might be ended up going somewhere, right? They don't have full control anymore. I think that company Endeavor has 51%, so they're outnumbered. But the Raw after Mania, you get really everybody every year gets really excited. Now they don't really do anything to allow fans to hijack the shows anymore, which is whatever. I thought that made for something special every year, but that's fine. That crowd was dead. The show was dead. Um, I you know, you I'm not saying they have to do it, but you come accustomed. You have trained the fans to think there's going to be a call up. You have got them to believe every year there's going to be some kind of debut. You think there's going to be you think there's going to be like the strongest promos of the year, right? Or some building or something. They didn't give us anything.
Yeah,
I,
like, look, we
I
we
try
even
and think
said it
about
in
what
the
I liked
chat,
last
like
night.
when they were talking about Cody gonna have a mystery partner and all. We were throwing names out there in our group chat. We had, I said Randy Orton comes back from injury, teams with Cody. I heard Matt Cardona being the guy because there's talks of him coming back. Braun Breaker was even a possibility thrown out there. At least it'd be a call up. There was none of that. All we got was Matt Riddle coming back, which, I mean, sure, I'm happy to have him back, but is that to the same standard as when Brock returned in 2012 or when Lashley returned? Or
Well, if there's something that I caught and some other people on the internet caught, because I had to think about it for a second, to make the Riddle return seem better than it was, Corey Graves said he has been gone for a year. Matt Riddle's been gone since December. He has not been gone a full year.
yeah,
Because when he did come out, I was excited. I'm a big Matt Riddle fan, but I was like, well, it doesn't really feel like he's been gone that long. And then Corey Graves says he's been gone a year, and then you look it up and it goes, no, he's been gone about 4 months. That's why it didn't feel that
yeah,
exciting because he
yeah.
really hasn't been gone that long.
If you want to play the year card, you would have had a better chance with that when Cody made his return at the Rumble. Because he was out for like 8 to 9 months. That's definitely pushing more of a year than 4 months. He hasn't wrestled at all this year. Just say that.
I get. I guess
Like,
maybe I feel like that was Vince. I could be wrong. Someone got in the headset of Corey Graves and me like make it seem like he's been gone longer than
yeah,
he
let's
was.
let's not say it was Vince. I will concede that I feel like it was a really old man that recently went to Walmart and bought a box of hair dye and put it on way too much hair. I will say that. I think it was that guy who was in Corey Graves' headset. I'm pretty sure he's also the one that called that main event spot. God.
Well, I'll talk about a few. There's not much. There really is not much to talk about. And like when people are saying worst Raw ever, it probably isn't the worst Raw ever. It fell. It was the worst Raw for the place that it fell on the calendar. Um, you know, my standout for the night. I think this is one of the coolest parts of it, and this is really minimal. I thought the opening segment was good, right? The crowd was kind of hot. They're hot for Cody. They were hot for Roman. People were shocked that Brock was going to be the partner. I thought Brock was a good pick. We'll get into what happened with that because I'm not entirely against that either. Um, but it was a letdown. I thought maybe they're going to let them have a rematch because they were going head to head with the national championship game. And I thought for a second, I said maybe they will give us Roman and Cody tonight, but they didn't. That's fine. I thought the only
No, it's
cool
not.
thing that
No, it's not.
uh, yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I would have gone
It's
nuts
not
for
fine
that.
at all.
But I thought Bad Bunny and because if you remember, Damian Priest was they were tag partners 2 years ago,
Yeah,
and you could kind of he got into it Dominic, and Damian Priest obviously sided with Dominic and beat the hell out of Bad Bunny. We know Bad Bunny can wrestle. I'm excited for Damian Priest, Dominic versus Ray and Bad Bunny. I thought this segment was fine. This is
I
something
just,
about
I just
you
want,
know
I just want Bad Bunny to hit a Canadian destroyer on, or Puerto Rican destroyer on Dominic. That's all I really want.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, so I thought they went over the top with saying we're sorry to Bad Bunny's fans and all this other stuff. I go, Bad Bunny has wrestled at WrestleMania. He's basically a part-time wrestler in this company.
and the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
He was in the Royal Rumble last year, so or was it this
they
year?
were
I don't
they were hyping up that he's the biggest music star in the world. I've never heard a Bad Bunny song, but to me, Bad Bunny is a part-time wrestler in World Wrestling Entertainment. So, yeah, he's going to go through a table from time to time.
Yeah, so something's going to happen. I will say that was probably the high point of the night.
There's not much other. Again, we're going to get to it. I'll tell you what I noticed as issues in the show. Obviously, uh, if you want to have Omos go out there and face Elias, fine. Weird spot for Elias. Figure you'd throw somebody in there that's been relevant or something. So, just feels like a squash match, which it was. Then you had the tag team number one contenders, but you didn't have Bailey, and I think I spelled Bailey wrong. Um,
Yeah, you
and
forgot why.
now there, I forgot. I did not spell. We're gonna take that off.
Yeah,
But
no, you
anyways,
didn't.
you didn't have. I just noticed that I did that.
Man, imagine
No,
if Roman Reigns and the Usos came out without Paul Heyman. Like
yeah,
it just
it,
wouldn't look right. Would they be fine? Probably, but it wouldn't look right.
but we don't even know why. Now there's all the speculation because she had posted something along the lines of like a love story has to end. So maybe Bailey is leaving the company. I know Mercedes had posted something about her too. So I don't know, but Bailey wasn't out there. But if you believe in some of the stuff on the internet, she wasn't happy about that. Um, so you had that. You had Lashley squash Mustafa Ali again. You got the Street Profits in Sammy and KO, which I guess
Two
you kind of
babyface teams going at it. Gotta love it. Don't know who to root for.
yeah. You were hoping there was some other. I don't know if anybody's and part of call ups can be that they just don't see anybody ready yet. Fine, okay. Again, we look forward to those. Maybe we were spoiled with them. I'm trying to even think of anything else. I thought the Miz and Riddle. We already talked about that.
Seth Rollins,
Confusion
yep.
with Seth Rollins. What was this? Um, Seth was in the back, seemed very excited. Um, what happened? He was going to the ring, yet everybody's singing it. So I guess they got that moment to sing one more time before they get on their planes and head back home wherever they came from, the fans. But there was no segment.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen it, but there's fan footage of last night. where it looks like Seth is leant over the ropes talking to the production crew. Odds are they probably told him, "Hey, we're running a little behind. We need to cut your segment down to like a minute or two." So, you know, just saying, I love the fact that, instead of getting a really good, really solid, possibly building towards something Seth Rollins promo, I'm so glad I got Omos versus Lashley. I'm also so warm in my heart that I got Lashley versus Mustafa. Because those are like 5-star matches any day of the week. Um, no, I don't understand that at all. If you're running behind on time, that's great. Cut somewhere else. Rollins has been carrying Raw for a very long time now. Give him time to speak, because the fact that he can sit in the middle of that ring and just let the fans sing his song tells you, hey, he's over. Let's not cut his segment. It made no sense to me.
Well, you get it. So there's all the speculation. There was other posts of someone sitting near production where they said that someone kept bringing them new papers.
Yeah.
So you start to wonder if this is, I mean, because they just made this deal. Because now everybody's saying Vince is back, and I after watching that show, I totally believe Vince is back in control. You start to wonder if Triple H had a show ready, and Vince started doing rewrites like during the show, because everything that happened with Seth Rollins coming out made absolutely no sense to the viewer at home. I could have thought for sure he was going to the ring to either cut a great promo, I'm sure, because we know Seth could do that the night after Mania, or someone was going to come out and Seth was going to start his new rivalry. Instead, we got Seth was leaving to the ring. I think they went to a commercial. They came back. Crowd got to sing the song, and Seth was walking back to the dressing room. I I've never seen anything like that on a live event before that I can think of. That was
Yeah, like
bizarre.
the closest I could ever come is the night after Roman beat Taker. He just came out and just listened to the fans boo for a minute, and then just said, "It's my yard now." Dropped the mic and left. Like
But at
that's
least
the
that was on.
closest, but at least it
Yeah,
made some sense.
it was
Like,
on and was on TV. Like we
yeah,
saw Rollins head to the ring, and then we saw Rollins going back. I never see anything like that. That was super confusing. Um, the only other standout in the show was confrontation between Rhea and Bianca that was lackluster and was transitioned into that tag match, which was kind of disappointing because I thought something may, I didn't expect a match between them, but I thought there'd be more than that. I mean, it just goes to the whole flow of the show. It came off as like a very just like disorganized Monday Night Raw. Not quite like just disorganized. Like we don't know what we're doing tonight. There really was no plan. And if there was
yeah,
a plan, it was rewritten and we don't even know what we want to rewrite. It just was so disorganized and so blah, you know.
yeah. Like it made zero sense to me. It made zero sense to me to even have him go out at that point. The only thing I can come up with is literally, again, I'm not gonna say a name, but the old man that went to Walmart and got the box of hair dye. I feel like he was basically writing the show as the show went on, and that became way more
Yeah.
evident once we get to this main event segment.
So all this has happened, and again, a lot of people I've heard say, "Well, what did you want them to do?" Anything, literally anything. You could have, if you're gonna have Seth Rollins there, let me know how Seth Rollins feels. Give me a moment. Anything, you know. But we're gonna get to what they eventually wanted, and everybody talking about. You get the match. Oh, we get the match. Brock is going to be the mystery partner because it had to be somebody that can no longer go for the title while Reigns is champion, which Brock Lesnar is the only one. And I said at the beginning of the show when it was Brock, I turned to my brother and I said, "Oh, Brock's going to turn on Cody." Like, that's coming because they want that, like those moments, like when Brock showed up and took out Cena, and then the year later, Ryback took out Cena or whatever. So, but I'm looking at the show and I'm thinking, wow, there's about 10 minutes left. So you assume Brock's going to do this in the match. Then they're doing the intro to Cody, and I want to preference this. They did everybody in the ring and then said the names, which they only do for title matches. And for some reason, all of a sudden, this was happening in a tag match, which they don't do. And as they're doing it, you can see Brock getting ready, and he's just looking at Cody weird. And there he does. They start the match, and Brock just attacks Cody, gives Cody one of those big long beat downs. Everybody comes out, and Brock leaves, and the show ends with Brock maybe returning to the ring, flicks off the camera, and now we have Brock and Cody into some kind of storyline. What do you think of this?
So, one, to touch on the intros, even when they do this, when do they announce a champion first? It's always challenger and champion when they do this. That's normally the format. They did Solo, then Roman, then Brock, then Cody. It's a weird layout. It made zero sense. Then the problem is they had, like you said, they had 10 minutes left for this segment. 2 minutes in, Brock starts a beatdown, and that carries on the rest of the show. 6 to 8 minutes, just Brock is beating down Cody. Can I just? Cody's a babyface, right?
Yeah, the biggest baby face that they have.
Baby faces are normally liked, right?
Very well. Unless
Nobody
your name
came
was
out.
Roman or John Cena in
No,
your
no,
prime.
nobody came out to help him in 6 minutes. If I
No,
seem to remember correctly, there's a team that he kind of helped get back together to take on the Usos that were at Raw last night because they competed on Raw last night. Nobody came out to try to help Cody. Nobody at all. Even if they got their ass beat by Brock, no one came out to help him. Like, I'm sitting here like 6 minutes, and the most we get is some referees and Adam Pearce's bum ass come out, and they're the ones that are supposed to stop Brock. No wrestlers, no one else. To me, if a babyface is getting beaten down, this is someone who is supposed to be liked and well loved in the locker room, except by the heels. No one came out to help him. I mean, if it were me, like Dan, if you were getting beat down for 6 minutes and I'm like sitting in the back and I saw it, I'm back. All right, yeah, square up. Let me just grab a bat real quick. Like I'm coming out there. I'm like, no, that's my boy. You back up. Like that's how things work. No one came out, and I understand if it's like we want Cody to have sympathy and all that. Do it mid-match. That way, it's not like such a long, drawn-out process. Like after a while, like after like the first couple F5s, and they drag him out the ring. I'm like, this is just going on too long. Like, I'm just like, this. You could have hit him with one F5, and that would have been enough for me. I would be like, okay, well, there we go. There's the next setup. One F5 was enough. We didn't need two F5s. Putting him on the table, and we didn't need him to come back in with the stairs and do another F5. We didn't need all that. Mid-match, have Brock just tag in, grab Cody, F5, and then walk out and get counted out. That's all we had to do. That's all we had to do, guys. It's not, or have Brock tag Cody in. The minute Cody steps in, F5, let him pin him. Mid-match, it would have made sense. Before the match even started, made none.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. Obviously, if the plan's to build towards Cody and Brock, I'm not going to shred this whole thing to pieces. But it felt weird. It definitely felt weird. That's a long beatdown. You kind of got the point, Maybe that's what they wanted. I don't disagree. I would have got the match going, and then he did it. But whatever you want to do to get Cody and Brock in a situation, I think another missed opportunity last night, just because it is the night after. Really, all they did with the Usos say you can go home. I would have loved to see some kind of more of a break in the Uso Roman relationship, but they didn't want to do that, and that's fine. But overall, I mean, the show sucked. Um,
Yeah.
if it was a show in mid-September, probably no one would be talking about it like we are right now. But again, this is where this show fell on the calendar. This is the night after Mania. We have been conditioned to believe that this will be the best Raw of the year. And man, I rushed to make sure. I was doing a podcast with Mike DiStefano of Mic'd Up Sports, and I made sure I got off right at 8 o'clock so I didn't miss anything. And looking back, I mean, I didn't need to rush anything, right?
Yeah.
I threw something in the microwave because I was like, oh man, I didn't cook dinner. I got to get right to Raw. I don't want to miss anything. And it was just forgettable. And I know Cody has to have his next opponent. I do I want to see a Brock Cody match? Absolutely. I will say this: if Cody does lose this match, he just becomes another guy on the roster,
Yeah.
and he has to go over. He has to beat Brock, but right now, I mean, it's not looking great for Cody Rhodes. This can all change. End of the day, though, that moment is now lost, and I don't know how you regain it. I don't know how you get it back. Um, I don't want to hear about the chase anymore. That's just not going to sell on me. I said after Mania, I was going to sleep on it, see how I felt in the morning, right? And we know there's bigger things in life than WWE. This is our entertainment. This is our form of entertainment that we like, and we are free to criticize it when it's not good. And this was not good.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, you could talk about, Cody's chase continues. It doesn't. What they did, Cody was in the middle of the chase coming over the bridge and someone came by and smacked him clean off the bridge. This wasn't like someone tripped him up. He lost at Mania. Now he's entering another rivalry. It'll probably be months before he gets another title shot. By then, it's not going to mean what it would have meant if he won Sunday. It's just not.
Yeah, and I just want to say I don't know how true this is, but a headline just popped up. And if this is true or not, Vince is already being investigated for the sale of WWE to Endeavor. There's possible violations.
Of course there
We're
is.
one day into the sale.
Yeah.
We're one day into this. I don't know what else we want to say here. I think we have made our points very clear about what they decided. Do I hate Triple H now and think he can't book? Absolutely not. There had to be a decision made, and I don't think this was a decision that was made easily. And I just think that they made the wrong one. And
Personally, I
if
don't think it was a decision Triple H made.
I don't know though,
I,
I could see Triple H deciding this.
yeah,
I,
you know
I
what?
definitely
Actually,
could.
you got a point. He probably remembered, when Cody took the sledgehammer to the throat. He was probably like, "Ha, you
Yeah,
thought you thought you
maybe the
thought I was going to let
sledgehammer.
you win this.
You know,
You'll get it later, but you're going to learn a lesson today." No, on the real, I honestly think because, and I said this in our chat, the last 2 days of wrestling has reeked of Vince McMahon booking. For months, we have gotten Triple H booking, and it has not been as bad as Sunday and last night. It has not. All right, WWE was on fire going into WrestleMania, and night one was on fire. It was fantastic. I don't know what happened night two. Again, exception the Intercontinental Triple Threat, but I don't know what happened night two. I don't know what happened Raw after Mania. I'll go on record and say this now. The last few Raw after Manias, I'm gonna do my damnedest to be at WrestleMania next year because it's pretty close to me. And as a wrestling fan, WrestleMania is on my bucket list. Raw after Mania, I wouldn't say it's on my bucket list. I really don't know if I'll go because the last few have been a wash.
Oh,
Like
I
it,
wouldn't.
I wouldn't even waste my money. It's like I'd just be going to a Raw. Like it's not anything special. If anything, I'll spend the money and be at the Hall of Fame ceremony Friday.
Oh,
That's more
absolutely.
likely.
I've
That's more likely.
I've never I've never been to the Raw after Mania, and I mean I went to Mania 29, but I only had tickets to that, and that maybe went down as like the craziest Raw after Mania ever in 2013. But I wouldn't change an appointment to change my sock drawer to watch the Raw that we got last night.
Yeah,
I wouldn't break an appointment. I wouldn't if I had something like if I knew last night that was going to be what we are going to get, I could have kept talking to Mike. I could have done anything last night. Like it just you think you know, I don't watch Raw every week, right? This was the one that I'd make sure that I'm there on time and that I do not miss because they have done such a great job with it over the years. Um it's not that anymore. And if it's not that, that's fine. I have other stuff I can be doing, you know.
yeah. Like
I
you could have painted the wall behind you a slightly lighter shade of tan and watched it dry. It would have been more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think the Raw after Mania has definitely lost its glamour at this point. Where WWE goes from here, um, they're going to be fine. Obviously, with the concerns, obviously, I think so many of us want that Cody Rhodes moment. We're not going to get the moment we wanted. We know that now. And to be quite frank, everybody out there saying, he's eventually going to, don't trust me, don't just that this might not ever happen. And that's a possibility at this point. He could get hurt. He's 39. Okay, and you could say, well, Kofi, what was Kofi? Yeah, Kofi was about the same age as Cody is now. I think Kofi's like 3 years older when he won. But so many different things could happen, and he there's a chance he doesn't ever get that title, and that's fine. I just think again, this was the night, and have to see where it goes from here. But last night is definitely the warning shot to fans that Raw might not be worth watching every week. Not that it has been all the time, but like even the big Raws might not be that good. So
Yeah, and it showed on such a high scale. Like they had spent time and money hyping up the Raw after Mania, the Raw after Mania. This is the most revolutionary Raw, the Raw after Mania, and then it was that.
yeah, I mean
Like
it's never good. It's never good when you're watching a television show, no matter if it's wrestling or anything, and you just can't wait for it to be over. But the thing about wrestling is like you keep tricking yourself that something cool might happen, and if you go to bed, you're gonna miss it. That's what that was, and then the moment never really came. And then if you want, I mean, the Brock Cody thing was the most interesting thing outside of Bad Bunny that happened all night. But overall, that was just it was a dud, and
yeah,
you know, it is what it is. But I don't know, Josh. Anything you wanna address before we get off the air?
Vince McMahon sucks. He shouldn't have never been rehired. Endeavor is not quite the worst, but one of the worst possible buyers. Yeah, fuck these last nights. That's all I got to say.
All
Give a
right.
quick Brock Lesnar impersonation, real quick.
All right, but everybody out there, have a good rest of your night. It's always fun. We usually do these wrestling shows very periodically. Always try to cover WrestleMania. So, anyways, good luck to Endeavor with your purchase. Good luck to Triple H now that's going to have Vince back in his ear, and good luck to Cody Rhodes. Hopefully that you can bounce back from this, and we do get the moment we want, even though it now feels extremely tainted.
And no pun intended. We also wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors, pun fully intended, to everyone that's going to leave through all this crap.
But yes, I like that. But everybody out there, have a good rest of your night and continue to let freedom ring.